night to all of you in the audience. Good night especially to my people of West St. George. 3 John verse 2 says, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. How many of you believe that verse? Do you think it was meant for you? Or do you say to yourself, that is for the others, that is for somebody else, not for me? Can we really prosper under this government? Are Vincentians prospering? There's a poverty of the soul. There's a poverty in health. There's just genuine disaster and poverty. But we have to acclaim and believe the words, these words. As I go through the community in West St. George, I have not seen so much poverty. I repeat it because a lot of us don't understand the stress and the pain and the poverty that Vincentians are suffering. I went to a house at Robinson Hill, a family of 10 persons living in that house. The roof was leaking. It was a very small home, the floor shaky, no ceiling, so it galvanized, exposed, it was hot like fire. And the lady I spoke with said to me, Miss Bacchus, I used to support the ULP. I supported them for years, but she said, I cannot do it anymore. It is too much pressure. And then she said something to me that touched me to my soul. She said, most mornings, I don't even feel to get up to bathe and to brush my teeth. I kid you not. I don't even feel to get up to bathe and to brush my teeth. All of them in the house are unemployed. She put in to get some of the lumber and cement and so that is going around, but she has not had any since. I went to another house in Bel Air. Well, to get there, in Top Bel Air, I had to go through a track, jump a wall, because the road was so bad. Yes, jump a wall. And I went down the track and met some young people. And again, they were saying to me about getting jobs. So when you hear our leaders say, jobs, jobs, jobs is the issue, he feels the pain of the people. I told you the last time I was here, a young constituent said to me, we are fed up of politicians who talk about seeing and seeing and seeing. Seeing the pain. I want someone who can feel the pain. And that is what Dr. Friday does. That is why he keeps saying, put the money where the pain is. He understands, my dear people, your pain. He understands the real poverty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There's a house in Georgie Gutter. Humble. You see, clothes. There's nowhere to put the clothes. Can we understand this kind of poverty? Vincentians, the Bible says we should be prosperous. There should be a minimum level to which every Vincentian must aspire to. No longer should we accept this poverty. That person in Georgie Gutter has to get up every morning to light a wood fire outside to boil water. No stove, no electricity. You go to Pole Yard, Most of them have no water in 2020, my dear people. We have to wake up. Daniel Cummins keep asking for the latest poverty report, poverty assessment report. And we get all sorts of excuses why we can't get this poverty assessment report. I want to speak about a particular lady in Bel Air who said to me, they think we are guinea pigs. This is another ULP person. She said that you're supposed to give a name to some baker or baker. I don't know if baker working in the Ministry of Communication and Works or Housing and what have you. And they give, all of them give the names. She said, I'm fed up. I see all kind of people getting. Rich people, professional people, their mother, their father, their children, their auntie, their nanny in one home getting. She said, see, some of them just have it stuffed there. Some have from last election. And I can't get. No, that's a serious message. Because what it is saying is that these people know that this is election time and this is for bribery. This is for, and even that, you are a supporter and you can't get. Listen, the people in St. Vincent are so poor. It will take another 40, 50 million of lumber and cement and galvanized to give away, and it still will not make a dent. Because you see, the policy of this government is keep the people poor. Let them beg and grovel at election time. It's backfiring. Trust me, my people. It is backfiring on them to know. Don't care how much they give away. People, open your eyes. We should be prosperous. How can you be prosperous when your soul is so dark, so hurting because of the division and the victimization in this country? I just want to tell you from the last poverty assessment report. This was since 2008 for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Poverty, this is how they define poverty. It defines poverty. Poverty is fundamentally about deprivation and can be defined as any situation in which an individual, a group, or community possesses less than some standard of living that is deemed generally acceptable. The poverty line is a monetary measure of the minimum annual consumption expenditure in dollar terms that is needed to meet the basic food and non-food requirements of the average adult at prevailing prices. And then it goes on to speak about the indigents, which are people who just exist just above the poverty line. Here are some of the statistics. You see, when Comrade Major said a while ago that the persons who support this government are mainly in the areas, the rural areas. The statistics show that clearly. And this was in 2008. I can guarantee you in 2020, it is far worse than this. You live in St. Vincent and you know that. It says, in 2008, 30.2% of the population was deemed to be very poor in 2008. And 2.9% was deemed to be indigent. It speaks about the highest incidence of poverty was found where? Georgetown, Sandy Bay, from the last census. 55.6% of the residents in this district were deemed to be poor. That was in 2008, my people. I can guarantee you this is about 60% in 2020. Georgetown and Sandy Bay. were deemed to be poor. The lowest incidence of poverty was found where? In the Northern Grenadines. 12% of the residents in that district were deemed to be poor. It said the 10 richest percent of the population accounted for 33.8% of total consumption expenditure, while the poorest 10% accounted for a mere 2.8%. And then it gave some figures of what is the minimum amount of money you need to make in order to be just get what your basic needs are. Those figures, I just tell you in dollars, those figures were about $13.50 per day, per person, for every day of the year. And in 2008, 33% of Vincentians were not even making that. Today, that figure would be about $20. So if you have 6 people living in a house, in order to just barely make the minimum food requirements to live, $20 a day for the 6 people, that's $120. This is per person, per day, 365 days a year. Work it out. And you tell me, my people, how many of you are above that level? Why in this day and age, there's so much poverty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? It is time for us to claim our victory, claim our liberation. But you know, the report also said the main reasons for the poverty is no jobs, little education, unemployment, low education. That's poor social conditions. And one of the main problems that we face with this government is victimization. I am really seated tonight. Seated. There's a young man, he's in the audience here tonight, Romal John, who has decided that he can't take the situation in St. Vincent anymore, and he's going to speak out. He has been on every single village meeting I have had, and the virtual meetings also. The first meeting we had in Gomé, he made his debut. Never spoke before in a public forum like that, and just spoke from his heart and got the powers that be upset. Within days, a policeman was at his house, arrested him, took him to the Calico police station, ostensibly for a debt that he owed some debt. How many persons in St. Vincent's owe debt? I eventually got him out of the police station. This is no joke, you know, people. This is our people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And how many of us suffer this victimization because we dare to speak out? A few days ago, I got a call from him. He is a hard-working young man. He has decided that he's going to start his own business. I don't know how many of you know that. He has a fruit stall outside Massey Supermarket. Other persons have fruit stall there. This place, that to me, that is almost a cultural situation in St. Vincent and Grenadines, where persons can go to get healthy food. They all of a sudden decide that he must be moved. They said 3 days. Monday they tell him by Friday, you have to move. So I said, did you get a letter? Where is this coming from? No letter. So he said, I'm going into them to find out. He went in, no letter. Today, he gets the letter. the Physical Planning and Development Board will be carrying out a demolition exercise in Arnos Vale on the 16th of July, 2020. The letter is dated today, 9th of July. Service of this notice is in accordance with Section 18(1) of the Town and Country Planning Act, 1992, and reference is made to the enforcement notice served on you, Jamal John and Rumal John, they're twins, on the 23rd of February 2018. You are granted a period of 7 days dated from the service of this notice to remove the unauthorized structure. Failure to comply with this notice would result in the demolition of the unauthorized structure by an agent authorized in writing by the Physical Planning and Development Board. Also, the Physical Planning and Development Board would not be responsible for any damages incurred. Please be guided accordingly, and it is signed. But there's a lot more in this than what is here. They also sent some letters similar to the others in the area. So sorry they have to get into this because they want to spite and victimize a young Vincentian entrepreneur. But in their letter, the only difference is they don't put no name. They just said notices served and you, owner-occupier. But they identified Rumal. And it says enforcement notice served on the 23rd of February 2020. Well, my research says absolutely no enforcement notice was served. This is a wicked government. You see, the Town and Country Planning Act prescribes that you must serve an enforcement notice. And you must serve it within 5 years of when you start your business. Rumal has been there for over 8 years. Over 8 years. Going to 9 years. And they put this lie in the letter that they served him a notice. When on the 23rd of February 2018, my people, this is a figment of their imagination. Because they want to go back and say, okay, if you're there, let's pick a date and say you were served with a notice. So you cannot say that the notice is illegal because no enforcement notice was served. But the other letter says the notice was served on the 23rd of February 2020. Now these people have been there for over 5 years, all of them. If you're going to serve a notice in 2020, what is telling me? You know the 5 years gone. None of them could move. But Rumal was served. I am angry. Rumal, they say, was served in 2018. They're meaning to say, we served you within time and you did nothing. They are going to get a hell of a fight on their hands. Tomorrow evening, I am lodging an appeal under the Act. I am lodging an appeal under the Act. They must stop victimizing our Vincentians. On the radio, their radio, you have their talk show hosts vilifying the young man. Just yesterday, everybody, just now you're going to hear them talk about Laverne. Because as soon as anybody come on the NDP platform, they start to vilify you. Ben Exeter was the talk today. I've told Ben that he must get that tape because I think a lawsuit is coming. We have to stop this. We have to stop this, Vincentians. We cannot continue with this type of politics where it is the prerogative of some people to get on the radio and say anything and do anything. And others, if you bust a peep, you hear the Prime Minister say, I'm going to sue. You know what is innuendo? Jerry George, look out. Because how dare Jerry George speak out? How dare him? Look out. We have to stop this. No other Prime Minister in history have sued so many of their nationals like this present one we have. And everything he put his hands to turned to ashes. NCB, Barrico, Clico, Liat. When he took over in 2001, he wrote a book, and in the book he mentioned, the destruction or the almost demise of Liat destruction by the NDP government. And we witness now the actual death, burial, and end of Liat under his guide, under his watch. Everything the man touches turns to ashes. I say LIAT workers must be paid. We voted over 2-point-something million, yeah, for LIAT. Only $150,000 of that was dispersed to LIAT. You have more than 1.5 million. They must be paid. The workers in Grenada and Antigua met the Prime Minister, already met with the LIAT workers. Up to now, the person who represents LIAT in St. Vincent can't get the Prime Minister to meet for him to talk about his obligation to the workers of LIAT. This is the type of government we have running St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have to get rid of them. We have to vote them out. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the election watch that we have been running. The election watch that we have been running. There are some messages that are being played on Nice Radio, and soon they will be playing on Facebook and other stations. Just
Attentions. Welcome to NDP Election Watch number 2, as we bring you highlights of the Representation of the People Act, RPA. Section 23. A registering officer or enumerator who willfully or without reasonable cause refuses to register a person qualified to be registered in a particular constituency is guilty of an offense and is liable to a fine of $750 and to imprisonment for 6 months. Also, he shall not be paid for his or her services and cannot vote or be elected to the House of Assembly for 7 years.
the other one. Fellow Vincentians, welcome to the NDP Election Watch number 5, as we bring you highlights of the Representation of the People Act, the RPA. Section 33, Rules of Election. The House of Assembly election rules shall apply to elections. Cabinet shall not amend the election rules as they relate to the offences. The returning officer is responsible for conducting elections according to law. Section 40. Offences by election officers. Election officers include the supervisor of election, the deputy supervisor of election, the returning officers, the presiding officers, registering officers, and poll clerks. By Section 40, subsection A, any election officer who makes any entry in any record he is required to keep, which he knows or has reasonable cause to believe to be false, or does not believe it to be true, is guilty of an offense and liable to 2 years imprisonment upon conviction. If any election officer permits a person to vote or refuses to allow a person to vote in a manner contrary to law, he is guilty of an offense and is liable to imprisonment for 2 years if convicted. Any election officer who willfully refuses to count any valid ballots or willfully counts any invalid ballots which he knows or has reasonable cause to believe to be so invalid is guilty of an offense and is liable to 2 years imprisonment upon conviction. Now, when yesterday the registering officer closed down the registration office and refused to register voters who came there to vote, he committed an offense. That's the first tape that was played. I want them to understand that the NDP will not be taking these offenses lightly. When Mr. Games counted over 300 ballots which did not have on the official stamp, he committed an offense. Where is Mr. Games now? He ran away. I had written to the Director of Public Prosecution to bring a criminal action against him for that breach of Section 40 of the Act. He's out of St. Vincent. I don't think he's coming back for now. He certainly would not be returning officer for Central Leeward. Mr. Bill Davis, where is he today? Check it out. I don't think he would be returning officer for North Windward either. God is not sleeping. And we say, once you do your work, registering officers, officials, you have nothing to fear. But if you cheat, if you do that's why we're taking the time to make sure that every Vincentian will know what the law is as regards what the registering officer should do, what they should do, what a ballot should look like. And we are going to write the supervisor of election to clean up the list. It is her duty under Section 25. I played that tape the last time. It is her duty. Take all them dead people names off. And all those people who have not been in St. Vincent for over 5 years continuously and living abroad. We're going to make sure that if you don't do that, you will have to face the penalty of the law. Now, Dr. Friday is hotting up the head. Hotting up the head because every poll that they have done shows Dr. Friday ahead, and not now, since over 2 years ago, shows him ahead of any leader that they can put up for the other side. Be it Camilo, Soboto, and especially the Gonzales who they say they fed up of. Because of his likability. Listen to that word. It's a powerful word. They don't get the fear and the dread and the victimization as they get from the other guy. His energy. And hear what? His integrity. That's why we say that we are proud of our leader. We are proud. I call him the no scandal leader. They can't say a thing about him that could ever be truthful. We are proud of his clean record. Another Mr. Clean. And so we rally behind him as we go for jobs for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let me just say a brief word about the other guy. That I am not here to eat a food. I am here to make sure that my people of Western George eat a food. I want the other guy to remember that getting the job as grammar school headmaster, what happened in cabinet, the Kawalim NDP, he had a struggle. Remember it. Remember it. Because there are two of us running, two NDP people, but I am the genuine one. Plenty there.
In the meantime that we're talking about teachers being ungrateful, not we, those who say that. I don't know if they know that a pension now for public servants and teachers, if you're going to be 55, a couple of years from now, you have to wait until 62 to collect that pension. So what you should do in this case? As far as I'm concerned, it was already terribly put 5 years when they say, well, you retire at 55 and get the pension at 60. To carry it up to 62 is even more wicked.
More wicked. That is how he described the ULP government. More wicked. NDP to his heart. So I am saying to you people, I am saying, vote the genuine NDP woman. That constituency don't belong to the ULP, don't be fooled. It was established by Yvonne Francis Gibson and Marcus de Freitas. Come back home, my people of Western Georgia. Come back to Mama. Mama will take care of you. Mama will look out for you. Mama will see that you eat. Mama will see that you have health. Mama will see you have prosperity. Mama will see that there's no more division in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good night, my dear.